Hello, I'm Lance Robertson and welcome once again to Sydney Motorsport Park for our continued coverage from the final round of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX-Superbike Championship. We've already seen our champions crowned in the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes and the Matrice Stampers Supersports, and now it's time to crown some new champions in our major support categories. We kick things off with the Shock Treatment 400 Supersports, where Keogh Watson is clinging on to a 63-point lead over Mitchell Kuhn, following a shocking third round up at Queensland's Lakeside Park. With double points on offer across all of our races, just finishing. We'll be picking up the action with the final race of the year very shortly, but first let's look back at the first two Sunday races, which were extremely exciting. The class welcomed back Hunter Ford and his brother Zane to the fold for this final round, along with the leading ladies Keegan Pickering and Laura Brown, and they were keen to disrupt the ongoing title fight between Watson and Kuhn. Hunter got away to a lightning start when the lights went out and was a clear leader as they approached turn one for the first time. Behind him it was already battle stations for second place, with his brother Zane, who was keen to make it a Ford 1-2 against some fierce competition from Watson aboard his KTM and the Yamahas of Kuhn, Brown and Kyle O'Connell, plus the Kawasaki of Andrew Edzer. But Watson was having none of it, and by Bike Biz turn 2 he broke away from the battle pack and dived past Hunter Ford's Yamaha to grab the lead. Knowing he had to go hard in the early stages of the race, Watson tried to shake the Ford brothers off his tail during the opening lap. The Yamaha pair remained persistent as they led a 9-bike trail that were in very close company for the race lead. Positions remained the same for the first two laps of the race before Hunter Ford pulled out of the slipstream, exiting turn 1 on the commencement of the third lap and drove past Watson's KTM, entering Bike Biz turn 2 to grab back the lead. As the top three pulled away, the focus turned to the battle for fourth between the Yamahas of O'Connell and Brown and the Kawasaki of Edzer. O'Connell held on to fourth for much of the race up to that point, until Brown made her move up the running order by passing Edzer at Matrice Stampers turn 6, then finding a gap around the back of Shock Treatment Hill to shoot past O'Connell for fourth. One lap later at Bike Biz turn 2, Watson's good run came to a crashing halt when he fell off in the exit of the turn whilst battling with Zane Ford. Ford continued on, but Watson was out of the race. This elevated Brown, Edzer and O'Connell up one spot, all whilst Hunter Ford cleared away, unopposed on his way to a dominant victory to start his weekend in fine style. Our leading lady, Laura Brown, pipped Edzer to take second place, the best result in the class to date, whilst O'Connell rooed a bad run out of the final corner to take fourth. For Keogh Watson, his retirement from race 1 meant he had to start from the back of the grid in race 2, and he had to race hard in the opening couple of laps to get back to the front of the pack. As Hunter Ford got away to another strong start, it was the Kawasaki of Edzer who surprised his opposition to jump into second place by the time they reached turn 1. He would eventually settle back into third by the time they approached Bike Biz turn 2, as O'Connell squeezed past to take up second place, followed by Edzer, Kuhn and Brown. By turn 5, Watson had made his way up through half the field and got back into the top 10 at Matrice Stampers turn 6, where he dive-bombed past Keegan Pickering aboard her Yamaha R3. But the KTM rider wasn't done just yet, as O'Connell, Kuhn and Edzer frantically battled for second on the road. Watson came into contention for a podium spot by the time the second lap was in full swing, as up to 8 bikes were all battling for a podium place. Positions remained the same for much of the second lap before Kuhn elevated himself up into second on lap 3. He would briefly hold that spot before a bad run out of Bike Biz turn 2 allowed O'Connell to seize the opportunity and reclaim that spot. As Hunter Ford continued to streak away unopposed, the battle for the final podium spots was becoming aggressive over the final few laps of the race. Positions were swapped between Edzer, Kuhn, Watson and O'Connell a number of times, whilst the likes of Brown and Jason Whitehead were sitting back and biding their time to pounce. On the penultimate lap, Watson finally worked his way back into second place as he pushed past Kuhn and cemented his authority in the championship standings. From there, he maintained a very cool head to fend off strong opposition and maintain his second placing, including a last lap charge from Edzer, who tried to dive past Watson at Races.World turn 8, but clipped his rear wheel and crashed out of the race. Ford would go on to claim another comfortable race win, with Watson holding off Kuhn and Zane Ford to take second place and put one hand firmly on the championship trophy. Laura Brown would again come in as the leading lady, finishing in 5th place.
Hunter Ford, Keogh Watson and Mitch Kuhn are your front row. Zane Ford, Laura Brown and Kyle O'Connell on row 2. Jason Whitehead, Brendan Watson and Keegan Pickering on row 3. And your fourth row, Hayden Stiff, Grant Jordan and Kurt Johns in that order. Looking forward to the challenges from behind them with Keogh Watson, for example, starting on the middle of the front row. Mitch Kuhn on the inside line. All three of them renowned for their starts. Hunter Ford got the best of it though, and right behind them, out of P4 was Zane Ford, Hunter Ford's brother.
Young brother, I think, Lance, isn't it?
Yes.
Younger brother.
Round the outside, Keogh Watson up into second place, but Zane Ford up the inside. Hunter Ford it is that leads at the moment. Mitch Kuhn's up there as well, and Laura Brown. Oh! I think you'll find that that was Zane Ford, came unstuck. Looks like he's a little bit dazed and winded out of that one. Medical staff on attention straight away. This will undoubtedly, I'm sure, bring out the red flag. There won't be enough time to get him up off the track and out of the way. And indeed, I am correct. Red flag has been brought out.
Okay.
Not even 2 corners completed by the entire field, unfortunately for them. Everybody acknowledging the fact that they have seen the red flag. Waiting to see what the officials will end up doing with this. Obviously, the riders will come back into pit enclosure. Start line official removes himself from danger. Shock treatment 400 Supersports underway. Again, Hunter Ford gets a good start. Laura Brown trying to get up around the outside of Mitch Kuhn there, and Keogh Watson in second place.
Keogh slotted himself in the second spot. Matty Kuhn is there in third. Laura Brown is fourth, down into Hi-Tec.com.au for the first time after the restart. Hunter Ford.
Mitch Kuhn up the inside of Keogh Watson. Watson goes it a little bit wide out on the exit of turn 2. Gets himself back on racing line through turn 3. Up over bikehaggle.com.au, downhill into Dunlop for the first of 6 times.
O'Connell, Laura Brown, Whitehead, Keegan Pickering, Edza. So Hunter Ford, half a second in front already. Matty Kuhn in second place. Keogh Watson is third. O'Connell fourth, Brown fifth, Whitehead sixth, Pickering seventh.
But one thinks it's not going to be like that for too much longer. Such is this category, close and exciting, albeit for Hunter Ford, who has certainly been by far and away the dominant force in this class of racing throughout this weekend, Dave.
There goes Keogh Watson down the inside as they come into Race-Tec and can head around the right-hander into races.world back straight. Did he get through Lance? It looks like he hasn't quite done it yet.
Oh, look at that. Andrew Edza. Kyle O'Connell on 42.
Making his presence felt, isn't he?
He certainly is, up onto the rear of Mitch Kuhn, relegating Keogh Watson back to 5th place. Laura Brown not that far behind them either. And young Keegan Pickering coming on very strongly as well.
And riding a little 250 Honda in this.
Oh, I think she's on the Yamaha in this one.
She's on the Yamaha in this one, is she?
Yeah, she's on the Yamaha.
Here comes Laura Brown down the Hi-Tec oil straight.
Out of turn 1, all important to get the drive and the correct racing line for the braking down into turn 2. Bikebiz.com.au. Keogh Watson.
Yep, takes the wide line coming into bikebiz.com.au. And straighten up, now flick over to the right as they head down the bikehaggle.com.au into Dunlop. It is Hunter Ford, Matty Kuhn, Kirk O'Connell, Keogh Watson, Laura Brown.
Yeah, trying hard there is Kyle O'Connell, gets up the inside of Mitch Kuhn and takes up the running of second place. Keogh Watson right behind Kuhn there. He wants to get up into at least 3rd place.
Trying hard as they come down into Matrice, and it is still Hunter Ford from Kuhn. Next one through would be Kyle O'Connell, then Keogh Watson and Laura Brown.
She gets a good line out of turn 1. Keogh Watson on the inside, on the outside is Mitchell Kuhn. Laura Brown just watching on. All in front of them, Kyle O'Connell in 2nd place. This is the battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th.
This round down through Bikehaggle. Look at Hunter Ford now. Got the length of that short bikehaggle.com.au straight 3.6 seconds advantage from O'Connell, and then Kuhn, then Watson and Brown. Down through the Dunlop corner and heading up towards Matrice, Dampers. And it is O'Connell leading Kuhn, Watson and Brown, with Hunter Ford, our race leader, 3.6 seconds in front. Down the Hi-Tec oil straight, they come again. Hunter Ford. O'Connell.
Side by side on the outside, then the inside. Keogh Watson looking to follow Mitch Kuhn through. Unfortunately, they're not able to force Kyle O'Connell wide enough to be able to maximise the braking opportunity down in bikebiz.com.au. Steady as she goes up over the bikehaggle.com.au downhill run. Into turn 4, Dunlop. It looked like Kuhn was trying on O'Connell there, unable to do it though.
Well, that's Hunter Ford going very wide there.
Just using up all of the track and some, that's all it was.
Expecting a new line.
Down into Matrice, Dampers. Trying to show where they can be strong. Laura Brown there, the 4th rider in this gaggle of 6.
Find a way down the inside of...
Around the outside there. Looked like the 42 of O'Connell. Yes, gets the upper hand back on Mitchell Kuhn. Keogh Watson right behind them. Followed through by Laura Brown. Then we've got the 54 of Whitehead and the 305, sorry, of Andrew Edzer.
Down through Shark Leathers, completing another lap, 4 of 6 coming up as they get to the top of the Hi-Tec oil straight, and Hunter Ford 5.5 seconds out in front from Kyle O'Connell in 2nd place, and Mitch Kuhn is 3rd, Keogh Watson 4th, Laura Brown 5th. Slipstreaming down the straight as Laura Brown got the advantage over Keogh Watson. I think she might squeeze through. She has. She's put Keogh back a spot now. She's got the good inside line. Can she pick up another spot here coming out into bikebiz.com.au? Round the outside goes Keogh Watson, but can't get past Laura there. They sit up and straight, and then Whitehead now is right on the back of Keogh Watson.
Yeah, Jason Whitehead on the triple X-rated race suspension. Motionlogistics.com, Oliver's Motorcycles, Kawasaki Ninja 300.
Brown pushing hard, trying to get past Kyle O'Connell as they head down into Dunlop.
She wants to finish on the podium last time around for 2018. A very good comeback after the injuries that she has sustained over the last 18 months.
She's forced wide there, trying to get around the outside of Kyle O'Connell. Couldn't find a way through as they head around the back of Shock Treatment. Oh, one rider's gone very wide there. Can he hold it up? That's not too bad. Very, very lucky.
Yeah, Jason Whitehead, unfortunately, his challenge for a podium position has come to a unceremonious end.
Coming out of Shock Treatment. So there's 58 on the board there. Mitch Kuhn just in front now of Kyle O'Connell.
Laura Brown up into 4th place.
Laura's picked up another spot now. Has she gone up into 3rd? I think she has.
And she's got the drive down the inside. Yep. Oh, look at Mitchell Kuhn.
2 in past her.
3 wide going down into the entry of the braking area of bikebiz.com.au for the last time for the season. Out of there, rolling it over to the right for the run around bikehaggle.com.au and downhill into Dunlop.
Laura now coming down the bike haggle now. She's got the inside line. Can't find a way through there at Dunlop. O'Connell is in front of her now. Now, where is her chance? She may have a chance if she can stick with him and stay this close to him and be there at the top of the Hi-Tec oil straight. I think she has a fairly good chance of being able to slipstream past him and pick up that 3rd podium spot.
It wouldn't be the first time, would it?
No, it wouldn't.
It wouldn't be the first time this weekend that she's done that.
Around the back of Shock Treatment, coming down into Race Tech. Laura Brown looks to the inside of O'Connell. No, nothing there for her. She tested the waters. Oh, she's gone wide now. Is this Keogh's chance to come back and grab that fourth spot? There's our leader, Hunter Ford.
Hunter Ford, he's going to pilot this Yamaha Blue Crew Sports Cycle Dynamics Yamaha R3 to a perfect score for the weekend. Down the Hi-Tec Oils main straight, nothing but daylight between him and second placed at the moment, which is Mitchell Kuhn. He's trying very hard, so Hunter Ford takes it out. Kuhn in second place, third place at the moment. Laura Brown trying very hard to get around the outside. Looks like she's been able to do it. Did she get second or third?
Third.
She got third. Hunter Ford, Mitchell Kuhn, right. Laura Brown, Kyle O'Connell and Keogh Watson, your top 5 runners. What a great way to finish off the Shock Treatment Supersport 400 class for 2018 as part and parcel of this year's Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX Superbike Championship.
I just want to say thanks to everyone who's helped me out. So Silkline, Shark Leathers, Moto Products, Gears Racing, like all my sponsors, C&M Motorcycles, they've all been fantastic.
Congratulations to Keogh Watson for taking out the Shock Treatment 400 Supersports for 2018. He's hoping that he continues his success moving forward into 2019. After the break, we'll bring you all the action from the FX Pro Twins, Naked Bikes and Super Twin 700, along with the AM Sport 600s. Welcome back to Sydney Motorsport Park as we continue our final round coverage of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX Superbike Championship. We now turn our attention to the two-wheeled exotics of the FX Pro Twins, Naked Bikes and Super Twin 700s. It's been the domain of Ryan Yanko for much of this season, and his dominance is not only the outright standing, but also the Pro Twins Formula One, as he's been unprecedented. As you can see, riders are getting set to line up for the third and final race of the year. But before we get underway, here's how they fared in the previous 2 races earlier today. Having dominated all 3 races on the Saturday program, Ryan Yanko quickly asserted his authority over the rest of the field by jumping straight into the race lead, followed quickly by the Yamaha Naked Bike of Brendan Watson. Further back in the field, Nick Marsh got away to a sluggish start aboard his Aprilia RSV4, but was quickly firing on all cylinders to challenge Stephen Rossini for 3rd place by the time they approached Bike Biz Turn 2. Rossini held on to 3rd until approaching Dunlop Sportsmax Turn 4, where Marsh showed his hand and went past him with ease. Further back in the field, there was a great tussle between the Aprilia Tuono of Adrian Pierpoint and the Ducati of Daniel Ayash for 5th place. Pierpoint missed the 3rd round at Lakeside Park, but was certainly showing no signs of slowing down as he battled fiercely against Ayash. As Yanko and Watson maintained a consistent gap between each other in their fight for the lead, Marsh and Rossini were battling hard for 3rd place. Rossini was finding any opportunity possible to slip past Marsh's Aprilia, but Marsh has the superior speed to hold his position as the laps wound down. In the end, it was Yanko who went on to take the first Sunday race on the program ahead of the Yamaha of Watson. Marsh held off Rossini to take 3rd and 4th respectively, while Ayash would eventually slip past Pierpoint to round out the top 5. Whilst race 1 was held in overcast conditions early on Sunday morning, it had cleared to be fine and sunny for the 2nd race on the program. But it was again the same story as race 1, as Yanko and Watson cleared away from the rest of the field to take up 1st and 2nd place respectively. Marsh managed to get away to a much more promising start this time around to take up 3rd place by Bike Biz Turn 2 ahead of Rossini and Pierpoint. Pierpoint was already badgering away at the tail of Rossini's Ducati during the opening lap, but wasn't yet able to take advantage of finding a way past the Ducati rider. Marsh, meanwhile, did find a gap on Brendan Watson, and on the commencement of lap 2, did find his way past to take 2nd place. It quickly became a 4-way battle for 2nd, as Watson found himself in the middle of an Italian sandwich of Ducatis and Aprilias. He would eventually fall out of the top 3 as Rossini found his way past the Yamaha rider at half distance to move into 3rd place. This was followed a few corners later by Pierpoint's Aprilia as he worked his way up to 4th. And then on lap 4, Pierpoint managed to find his way past Rossini for 3rd as he took the inside line of Turn 1 and maintaining his position as he negotiated Bike Biz Turn 2. He then tried to pester the tail of Marsh's machine for the remaining couple of laps, but wasn't able to succeed in the quest for 2nd place until finally working his way past at the same corner on the final lap. Whilst all that was happening, Yanko rode on to take his second race win of the Sunday program completely unchallenged. Pierpoint managed to fend off Marsh to take second place and third places respectively, whilst Watson would come home in fourth place just behind Marsh's Aprilia. And speaking of Brendan Watson, these are live pictures coming to you on the entry into Bike Biz Turn 3, and that is definitely Watson being attended to by the paramedics. Looks like he's come off during the warm-up lap just before this final race of the year, and as you can see he's perfectly fine, but the Yamaha's looking a little bit worse for wear, which is not good news for the ProWorks team.
Here we go, let's have a look at the way they're scheduled to line up. Ryan Yanko, Adrian Pierpoint and Nick Marsh on row 1. Row 2, Brendan Watson will not be there. Daniel Ayash and Stephen Rossini. Third row is shared by Aaron Breesy, Richard Maricini and Steen Walsh, with Bill Birdsey, Max Jordan and Eric Wadling on row 4. Our fifth row sees Luke Ruckley and Simon Galloway share the duties. In preparation for the 6-lap journey, Adrian Pierpoint gets a good start normally, but Ryan Yanko has been dominant in this force of racing and gets an even better start. On the third row of the grid, Brendan Watson missing. Daniel Ayash got a good start as well, but it looks like it's condition normal for Ryan Yanko, leading Adrian Pierpoint through turn 1 for the first of 6 laps.
Heading over towards bikebiz.com.au for the first time. Last time out for the Pro Twins and the Naked Bikes. And it's Ryan Yanko from Adrian Pierpoint and then Nick Marsh.
Daniel Ayash, Adrian Breesy, Stephen Rossini rounding up your top 6 as they head out of bikehaggle.com.au for the downhill run into Dunlop's turn 4 and 5.
Through Dunlop now, heading up towards Matrice Dampers.
Ryan Yanko hasn't got it all his own way at this early stage. Adrian Pierpoint right up onto the rear cowling or tail of Ryan Yanko's bike.
And the back of Shock Treatment Hill, down towards races.world. It is Ryan Yanko leading from Adrian Pierpoint, then Nick Marsh, not that far. Yanko's gone very wide. In fact,
wide.
I think Adrian Pierpoint has gotten through.
The Quadrian Holmes, Aprilia Tuano now leads it, but not for long. Here comes the Force 8 Contractors, Better Pork, Kabuto, 5 Gloves, Ducati 1299 of Ryan Yanko, and they're all under a lot of pressure from Nick Marsh on the Superbike Source GTH equipment, roofing S-Market. I need signs, Aprilia RSV4. So it is, in fact, condition normal.
Yes, it is now.
Oh, there goes round the outside Marsh on Pierpoint. Yep. Pierpoint's been forced wide, so wide in fact that's allowed Daniel Ayash to get up the inside on board his Ducati 1299. Now coming back strong is Adrian Pierpoint. He says, my mistake, sorry, but you're wrong, I'm in third.
So it's Yanko from Marsh and Pierpoint as they come up towards bikehaggle.com.au. Come down the hill into Dunlop, the right-hander at Dunlop, head over to take the left-hander that leads them up to Matrice Dampers. But Ryan Yanko leading from Adrian Pierpoint, then Nick Marsh, then Adrian Pierpoint and Daniel Ayash.
Here comes the Aprilia Tuano, though, of Adrian Pierpoint, slots himself up the inside, doing a great job using the slipstream to his advantage. Has he gone too wide, though? Will Nick Marsh come back up the inside under brakes in Bike Biz? No, he's not close enough to do it. Pierpoint goes a little bit wide, though, manages to maintain the drive. A little bit unsteady, though, on the change of direction from left to right.
I noticed he was that way at the previous lap too, Lance, coming out of biketech.com.au. He was the bike moved around a bit when he got out of that left-hander. He went wide last time. Oh, and he's done it again. Yeah,
maybe it's a legacy of warm rubber on those tyres, unfortunately for him. He's at the end of his tether, quite literally, by the looks of it. Coming now through Matrice Dampers, a little bit more stable, but one senses the tyres may well have gone off on that bike. Oh, bad luck there for one of the competitors. Looks like one of the Ducatis, the 996.
Can't see who that is at the moment. Bike's not going to start.
There were 12 starters. I'm wondering whether in fact it is Bill Birdsey on board his Ducati, the old 998.
They are heading down the Hi-Tec Girls main straight again into turn 1. And Adrian now getting away from Nick Marsh. Just starting to, and also starting to get a little bit closer to Ryan Yanko. Whether Ryan may have just buttoned off a bit with the lead that he has.
Yeah, maybe.
See.
Maybe a little bit of cat and mouse. I mean, we're on lap 4 of 6, and as we've experienced by the looks of it with Adrian Pierpoint, maybe the tyres going off a little bit, so he's decided not to stress them as hard. Having said that, though, whether it's a tyre issue or not, Adrian Pierpoint is coming on very strongly.
He is, isn't he? And I noticed that Onyenko wasn't too backward in coming forward. With a nice little wheelie coming down bikehagel.com.au.
Up into 4th place, Daniel Ayash there is now putting the pressure on to Nick Marsh in 3rd. Adrian Pierpoint just marginally pulling away from them and getting that so much closer to Ryan Yanko in front. But again, as the analogy is said quite often in commentary, is it too little too late for Adrian Pierpoint?
Still 2.5 laps to go.
Good battle for 4th placing. Sorry, Ayash there trying to get up the inside of Marsh down the tail end of races.world, unable to do it.
They all look like they're struggling with tyres, Lance, don't they? Because you look at some of the lines that they're taking, it's not the lines that we've seen yesterday and in the 2 previous races, so they all could be struggling with tyres.
Yeah, a bit of physical fatigue there as well, perhaps.
Yep. And the Hi-Tec Oils main straight still holds on to 3rd place. Ayash right behind him, then Breeze, Rossini, Walsh, Maricini, Ruckley, Jordan, Wadling, Birdsey.
Daniel Ayash on board machine number 11, coming on very strongly.
Oh, another rider's gone through it.
That was Ayash, wasn't it? Was that Ayash?
I think it might have been.
Yeah, I think may well have been. Nick Marsh is now in front of him.
Yep. So it's a little bit of drama out there at the moment. One of the riders in their interviews, they said there was a little bit of slip in the track, but nothing that could cause the problems that some of these riders are having at the moment. Hi-Tec Oils turn 1, Lance goes our race leader, Ryan Yanko. Now, I think you may be right, a little bit too late for Adrian, although there is
somebody's gone wide.
There's a back marker there, I think, that's going to... Oh, Adrian's gone down.
Adrian's gone down, just lost the
tyres
front end.
have brought him undone.
Yeah, I think you'll find that it is a matter of poor rubber. Let's have a look at a replay of what happened with Adrian Pierpoint there. Comes out of turn 2, just tries to squeeze too much, slide, front end just goes down. You can see just drops the front end. Nothing too untoward. No damage, major damage, I'm assured, under the bike. A little bit of superficial damage to both he and the leathers of the Aprilia Tuono mounted Quadriant Homes. Adrian Pierpoint.
So, Ryan Yanko, race leader. Now, no pressure on him now. He's on his final lap coming down into Shark Leathers corner, making a run down the Hi-Tec Oils straight, and it's going to be an easy win with the demise of Adrian Pierpoint. And it is Ryan Yanko taking out the win in the final event for the FX Pro Twins and Nakeds.
6 from 6 for Ryan Yanko, a perfect score of 300 plus pole position for him as well, ahead of Nick Marsh, Daniel Ayash in 3rd. Aaron Breesy, Stephen Rossini, Richard Maricini, Steen Walsh, Luke Ruckley, Adrian Pierpoint, who did end up finishing in 9th place, and Max Jordan takes out our 10th and final position.
Yeah, it sure is. I'd like to be able to say the same about the Superbike class that I've been racing, but this year it's enough to keep me happy. Yeah, I kept turning around having a look and seeing that he was there, so just kept my head down, and yeah, after the last lap, or after the checkered flag, I seen him sitting there after turn 2. He must have lost the front end, sitting there giving us a clap. So
we now turn our attention to the AmSport 600 standalone race, which will decide the championship for the older spec 600 Supersport machines. Heading into this weekend's final round, Brian Bolster led his nearest rival Noel Mahone by 156 points and just needs to finish this final standalone race of the year to claim the title. So, here's how the grid will line up.
Jack Passfield, Andrew Edzer and Carl Kitson occupy the front row of the grid. Noel Mahone, Brian Bolster and Robbie Tesoriero on row 2. Matt Franco, Mary Molina and Brooke Ernest on row 3. Row 4, Brad Small, Kurt Johns and Robert Galotto. 6 laps scheduled, possibly 5 only to be contended with. Getting the best of the start was Passfield, with Andrew Edzer not that far behind him, heading down the Hi-Tec Oils main straight for the first time.
Carl Kitson slots himself up into 3rd. Bolster is 4th. Tesoriero 5th. Franco, Molina, Ernest, Small and Johns. Down at the bikebiz.com.au, and we'll keep an eye, Lance, I'll keep an eye on the starter here just to see when the last lap board does come out so we don't get caught out again.
Yes, with the lateness of the program, a few delays throughout the week, today anyway, as Bolster tries to get up the inside of Matt Franco in turn 4. It's quite possible that we could have this race shortened by 1 lap.
Yeah. So it's Passfield leading from Mahone and Edzer as they come up to Matrice Dampers. Come around the left-hander there that leads them back around behind Shock Treatment Hill and then down into Race Tech, and races dot the world back straight.
Look out for the hard-charging Matt Franco on machine number 55, the Extreme Fire Solutions Franco Smash Repairs Addiction Clothing Central Coast Performance Yamaha R6. He's back there in 4th place, but he's coming on very strongly after a poor start, though.
Yes, he got bogged down at the start there, Lance, but has come up well now. And number 92 on screen now, that's Noel Mahone on the GSXR Suzuki. Ross Services proprietary on the GSXR 600. Doing it well there in 5th place.
There's no holding back the 42 of Jack Passfield. Right behind them now, I think you'll find Andrew Edzer on the Race Art Designs Kawasaki Connection ProWorks team Kawasaki ZX6R. Yes, indeed, that is him on screen.
Through BikeBiz they go, bikebiz.com.au. Straighten themselves up momentarily, then start to lean it right on the run into the bikehaggle.com.au. They go downhill and then into Dunlop. Round out of Dunlop they come and take the run up the hill into Matrice Dampers. Left-hander there. That leads them around the back of Shock Treatment Hill. It is still Passfield now by 4.2 seconds from Mahone, who is 1.3 seconds in front of Edzer, Franco and Tesoriero.
Jack Passfield just disappearing off to the left-hand side of the screen. Noel Mahone in 2nd place. A fair way back, but far enough in front to secure 2nd place comfortably at this stage. Andrew Edzer just edging a little bit more of a gap over Matt Franco, Robbie Tesoriero and Brian Bolster for that final podium position.
Back they come through Matrice Dampers corner, up around the back and into Hi-Tec Oils main straight. Turn of speed being shown by these older machines, Lance, but gee, who's that coming through? Number 46, that's Tesoriero, showing good turn of speed down the Hi-Tec Oils straight. Yeah,
the Land Ridge Transport Yamaha R6 of Robbie Tesoriero. He's been there or thereabouts in the AM Sport 600s throughout the entire weekend, in fact the entire season. A good credit to him, of course, remembering that these bikes have sometimes got even 1.5 decades on the Matrice Dampers 600 Supersport riders that normally head the field. This is a standalone ride for these AM Sport 600 competitors. There were 12 of them today. 8 of them took to the start line. 7 of them on the track at the moment.
So they come down Matrice Dampers, get around the left-hander once again. Still Passfield now by 5.3 seconds from Noel Mahone, who is 1.2 seconds in front of Edzer. Edzer is just 0.3 of a second in front of Franco, and Tesoriero is right there within 0.3 of a second further back.
Through race Hi-Tec turn 9 for the run down the races.world. Back straight for the third last time. Using up all of the track there and some. I think that was Andrew Edser, maybe Matt Franco perhaps. There's Matt Franco now, so it must have been Andrew Edser that I was looking at. Just went a little bit wider than the tar-sealed surface of the circuit itself, including the concrete ripple strip on the outside and that bit of extra tar.
Yep.
Decided to kick up a bit of dust in the background for the final time.
Around the back they go. Looks like this is going to run for the full 6 laps, Lance. No sign yet from our official starter here, whether the last lap ball is coming out.
Good battle for third place, though. It's not over and done with Matt Franco and Robbie Tesoriero. Tesoriero coming on very strong in this final lap, heading out of Dunlop, up over the rise, down into Matrice Dampers, turn 6. Matt Franco trying very hard to hold off the challenges of Robbie Tesoriero.
Yeah, Tesoriero's tried a couple of different lines that last lap, trying to find a way around as Mahone leads them down into Race Tech for the last time. Down the straight, there's our leader, Jack Passfield.
It's all been about Jack Passfield. He'll pilot the stay upright gas suspension Yamaha R6 to another victory in this final round of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX-Superbike Championship at Sydney Motorsport Park. Noel Mahone on board machine 92, the Ross Services Proprietary Limited Suzuki GSX R600 should take a comfortable second place, with third place going to Matt Franco on the Extreme Fire Solutions Yamaha R6. Robbie Tesoriero, Andrew Edser, Brian Bolster and Brad Small rounding up your 7 finishers.
Yeah, it was really good. It was a shame we couldn't get all the races, but Aiden was riding great all weekend as well. It was good to have some battles, but yeah, good way to finish it off and start working towards next year. I'd just like to thank Stay Upright Rider Training for helping me get around this place and all the other tracks as well. They're really great help, and everyone else that's been helping me out this year. Thank you.
Well done to Jack Passfield for his weekend-long dominance in the M Sport 600s, whilst a massive congratulation goes out to Brian Bolster for taking out the M Sport 600 title for 2018. After the break, we bring you all the action from the Races.World Formula Oz class. Thanks for joining us as we welcome you back to Sydney Motorsport Park for this final round of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX-Superbike Championship for 2018. We've almost crowned all our champions this weekend, but we have one more class to come to wrap up the year, and it's the Races.World Formula Oz class. It's been a closely fought contest between Dean Hasler aboard his BMW S1000RR and Brett Harper on board his Yamaha R1, and with only 48 points between them. So, with double points on offer, not finishing is not an option. Before we pick up racing action with the final race of the year, here are the highlights from the previous 2 races. Having focused solely on the Superbike class for much of 2018, Yanni Shaw joined the Formula Oz field for the final round to gain more track time in his debut year aboard his Kawasaki ZX-10R. And he utilised the opportunity to fine-tune his racecraft to great advantage. In the opening Sunday race, he got a very quick getaway from the start line to lead Tim Griffith aboard his similarly mounted Kawasaki into turn 1, followed by the BMW of Dean Hasler. By BikeBiz turn 2, Hasler pushed his way up into second place and quickly tagged onto the tail of Shaw's Kawasaki, with a clear intention to take the Formula Oz title as quickly as possible. Hasler attempted to pass Shaw at Races World turn 8 near the end of the opening lap, but Shaw was having none of Hasler's attempts to take the race lead and sprinted away to hold his position out front. As Shaw and Hasler continued their battle, there was some fun and games further back in the field. South Australian Darren Jones was having a great tussle for 5th place against Concourus and Adrian Pellegrin, but he didn't make the trek to Sydney just for another off-track excursion like he did on lap 2. And then, a few corners later, Hasler tried to dive past Shaw for the lead at Matrice Dampers turn 6, but got all crossed up and went off the track, allowing Shaw to ride off into the distance. Hasler would drop to 3rd, but would eventually recover to resume his battle for the lead against Yanni Shaw, which also now involved Tim Griffith. Hasler had plenty of torque coming out of his BMW, but the Kawasaki pair were able to hold their own against the persistence of the BMW rider. With 3 laps from home, Griffith attempted to do the same pass that Hasler did on Shaw at turn 6, but Shaw did the switchback on the exit to hold the race lead. Griffith wasn't done just yet. He tried again at turn 1 on the second last lap, and for a brief moment, it looked like he had finally got his man. But Shaw found the inside line at Bike Biz turn 2 and reclaimed the lead. On the final lap, Hasler tried his luck at passing both Shaw and Griffith, but he too fell victim to overshooting his marker and went straight ahead. From there, it was all she wrote, as Shaw fended off Griffith to take out the first race on the Sunday program. Hasler would eventually recover to remain in 3rd place ahead of Michael Witchard and Adrian Pellegrin. The second race on the Sunday program saw the front row solely occupied by Shaw's Kawasaki, as Hasler was forced to start from the rear of the grid, whilst Griffith failed to take the start. The absence of Hasler and Griffith allowed Shaw to easily jump into the race lead when the race got underway. He was followed into turn 1 by Kokoris, Witchard and Pellegrin, whilst Hasler made up 10 spots by the time they raced through turn 1. By the time they reached Patrice Dampers turn 6, halfway through the first lap, Hasler had found his way back into the top 10 as he continued to pick off each competitor one by one. As Shaw continued his dominance at the head of the field, showing some impressive speed was Darren Jones from South Australia aboard his Ducati 1299. Even more incredible was the fact that he had suffered a heart attack earlier this year and managed to be fully recovered and ready in time for the final round of the season. He would soon become a part of a 4-way battle for second place, as he battled furiously with Witchard, Kokoris and Hasler. He would eventually find his way past Witchard for 3rd at half-race distance at Dunlop Sportsmax turn 5, before forcing his way past Kokoris at Patrice Dampers turn 6 just 1 lap later, along with Hasler aboard his BMW. From there, positions would remain the same for the rest of the race, as Shaw went on to claim another race win ahead of some very strong opposition. Jones would fend off Hasler to take 2nd place, with Witchard finishing 4th behind Hasler.
Here's the way they'll start. Yanni Shaw, Darren Jones and Dean Hasler on row 1. Row 2, Michael Witchard, Adrian Pellegrin and Con Kokoris. Your 3rd row is shared by Mark Hatch, Andy Bates, Chris Lynch. Row 4, Somfort Rosner, Mark McGregor and Lee Appleby. Row 5, Max Jordan, William Stewart and Peter Graham, with row 6, Roger Berman, Victor Esquire and Jack Dunlop. For the final time for season 2018, the Racers.World Formula Oz category underway. Yanni Shaw getting almost a perfect start there on board machine number 333. And he's going to lead the field down on his Select Fresh providers. Andrews Meats Industries, Kawasaki ZX-10R for the first of 6 laps.
Yes, down into bikebiz.com.au, and it is Yanni Shaw from Darren Jones, Michael Witchard. Then Hasler is the next one through. That's Darren Hasler. The next one through is Andrew Pellegrin, then Con Kokoris.
Looks like Jones has just been overtaken by Hasler. He takes up 2nd place at the moment. Hasler making a comeback of all comebacks after suffering a heart attack earlier during the year, and doing a great job to be able to continue to keep that heart pumping.
Down through Matrice Dampers. Left-hand corner leads him around the back of Shock Treatment Hill. And still Shaw, Hasler. Jones has now gone back to 3rd spot. Witchard still 4th. Pellegrin is 5th. Kokoris is 6th. They come onto the anchors. Whoops, a little bit of a sit-up there. Was that Pellegrin and Kokoris?
Yes, I think it was. Momentary indiscretion there. Not quite seeing out of the peripheral vision of the rider coming through. Nevertheless, Yanni Shaw doing a great job. He's had a magic weekend this weekend, and well deserved to the young lad, who has certainly been a great supporter of this class and category, and indeed the series, the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes. He performed well in, very admirable performances, but now he's under a lot of pressure from Dean Hasler at the end of lap 1.
Yes, down through into bikebiz.com.au. Yanni Shaw opens up a little bit of a gap from Hasler, but Hasler manages to close that down through the left-hander at bikebiz.com.au. they head up. A little bit of a wheelie there from Yanni Shaw as they head over towards bikehaggle.com.au. The run down the hill into Dunlop. Around the right-hander and looking down the inside was Hasler, trying to get down the inside of Yanni Shaw. Now tacked right under his back wheel as they come out. The last left-hander of Dunlop head up towards Matrice Dampers, and once again around the back of Shock Treatment Hill.
Yanni's father, Cam Shaw, was involved in the Matrice Dampers 400 Supersports, and he ended up with 3 21st placings in that. Big smile on his face. Well, Yanni, his son, made his father very proud. He's looking to make it a trio of victories here this weekend.
Hasler taking it right up to him as they come around the back down through races.world. And Hasler really taking it up to Yanni Shaw this time as they come down through Shark Leathers to complete their second of 6 laps. Shaw not having it all his own way this time, with Hasler right on the money now on the BMW as they head down the Hi-Tec Oils straight. Hasler trying to get into the slipstream of Yanni Shaw, can't quite do it, and then Darren Jones not that far back in 3rd place.
So Dean Hasler on board the Beer Bike Works Wild Brumby Distillery BMW S1000RR, chasing down the Select Fresh providers Andrews Meats Industries Kawasaki ZX10R of Yanni Shaw, and the unsponsored Darren Jones on his Ducati 1299. He's made a step up to a bigger bore machine this season and doing a great job to occupy the bottom run of the podium at this stage.
Yes, that Hasler's BMW has certainly got some speed. Hasn't quite got the drive out of the corners that Yanni Shaw has. But boy, he's certainly got some horsepower underneath him there, and he's taking full advantage of it.
So Yanni Shaw, Dean Hasler, 0.13 of a second between them. Darren Jones, 0.9 from our race leader, Adrian Pellegrin, about 3.5 seconds behind this pack, with Nick Marsh occupying P5 at this stage.
It's down into races.world. The right-hander heading over towards Shark Leathers down the short straight. Tip it into the right-hander at Shark Leathers, and again Hasler right there on his back wheel, Lance. If he can get into the slipstream, I think with the perhaps superior horsepower, he may just be able to get past Shaw, but not close enough at this stage.
You don't know about that. Yanni Shaw's just doing what he needs to do, and all you got to do is finish first by the narrowest of margins. And I think Yanni's doing a great job at the moment. But as you say, Dean Hasler coming on strongly right round the outside. There's that horsepower you were talking about.
Tuck it in tight. It's gone a little more. No, not too bad. Not too bad. So it's Dean Hasler up into the race lead on the run down into bikebiz.com.au. Now, Yanni Shaw, what can he do from here? They head down the hill out of bikehaggle.com.au down into Dunlop.
Great three-way battle for 4th, 5th and 6th placing at the moment, being held down by Pellegrin, albeit by the narrowest of margins. A bit of a right leg kick out there saying, hey, come on, mate, you can do better than that.
Down into Dunlop, heading up towards Matrice Leathers, Matrice Dampers.
Nick Marsh up the inside of Pellegrin, Pellegrin up the inside of Nick Marsh, and then Nick Marsh back up the inside of Pellegrin, which are just watching on in 3rd place in this trio. Great battle. That's what it's all about, the Formula Oz class of racing. Doesn't matter what sort of bike you're on, you're able to maintain some pretty good pace and some pretty good challenges.
Good pace out there at the moment, Lance, as they come into Shark Leathers for another lap. 4 of 6 about to be completed. As they come down the Hi-Tec Oil straight, here's Hasler going back into 2nd place now. He's going to try the outside again on Shaw, but Shaw comes out and takes a middle track line.
Covers his line well, doesn't he?
Which I think Hasler realises that if he was to go any wider than that, he could be in all sorts of trouble coming out of biketech.com.au as far as a line is concerned.
So all the hard work from Dean Hasler over the last couple of laps has come undone in one corner, and that was at the end of the Hi-Tec Oils main straight, where he drifted a little bit too wide, allowing Yanni Shaw better drive and better angle and better approach to bikebiz.com.au turn 2. But in the meantime, they're up to turn 6 now. Matrice Dampers. Yanni Shaw again feeling the pressure of Hasler. Hasler pressures himself, comes out of the saddle there momentarily.
That's given Yanni Shaw a little bit of a bigger break now as they come down into Hi-Tec and down to the Races.World Shortback Straight and then into Shark Leathers. They will get the last lap board this time around. Hasler coming back at Shaw now as they come down into Shark Leathers. They tip it in left, line themselves up for the run down the Hi-Tec Oils Straight. It is still Shaw leading from Hasler, then Jones, Marsh, Pellegrin, Witchard.
Onto the straight for the second last time. No, it is the last time according to the checkered flag out there. Checkered flag on display, so Yanni Shaw it is that takes it out ahead of Dean Hasler and Darren Jones in third place. This battle for fourth. Nick Marsh is going to win the medal there. Pellegrin in fifth and Witchard in sixth. Andy Bates, Mark McGregor, Somford Rosner and Chris Lynch round up the top 10 competitors.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really, really awesome. Can't thank all my sponsors enough, all the family and the friends and all my supporters that come and cheer me on. It's really, really good place to be.
So, after 4 competitive rounds of racing, the checkered flag finally falls on the Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX-Superbike Championship for 2018. A massive thank you goes out to George Gambino and his team at the Hi-Tec Oils Group, as well as our associate sponsors for their support throughout the year. Thanks also to all our competitors and officials who provide us with safe competitive racing conditions. And last but not least, we thank you for watching throughout the year. On behalf of our entire team, we wish you all a very Merry Christmas and hope you can join us again in 2019.